How do you keep your business strong? How do you stay aware with what's going on around you when it comes to things like pandemics, crashes, investment? It's by surrounding yourself by coaches and people that have previously experienced such things, right? Today, I'm interviewing a gentleman that does coaching here in the Las Vegas area, and I'll tell you what, he sure does have a mindset that can conquer all. Stay tuned.
After it.
All right. Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you so much, Ed, for coming on the show today with Relax with Your Realtor. We've met previously at a networking event and it was absolutely fantastic. And I've looked you up and I wanted to bring you on the show today so we could talk a little bit about how you became a John Maxwell leader and the services that you provide here in Las Vegas City. So.
All right. Well, thank you for the invite, number one. And two, how I became a John Maxwell certified coach and speaker is I run a CEO Roundtable for Christian business owners and have for about 10 years, almost 11 years now. And I started that under a franchise agreement with a national organization. But about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I switched out from the national organization to my own name, CadreLV. And my members told me, they said, since you're no longer with a national organization, maybe you should go get some kind of certification to kind of have some street cred. And I looked around for about 4 or 5 months and settled on the John Maxwell team and joined them in June of 2018.
Nice. And what catapulted you towards the John Maxwell specifically?
Well, I looked at some coaching organizations, and they have long names behind them and acronyms. And as I looked into them, and I asked people, have you ever heard of this organization before? And I'm talking to business people, and really everybody shook their head. It was like, I don't know who that is. And so I thought, what would be the benefit of being certified by an organization that most people don't really understand? And then I looked at the John Maxwell organization, and the neat thing about them is it's not just a certification where you pay money and then you're done, but they have ongoing weekly training in 4 different areas that if I come across a question or have a client that has a specific need, I can pick up the phone and call somebody who's got years of experience to help me walk through that. So it's the ongoing leadership development and training coaching that I get on a regular basis.
Wow. That's amazing. That's really interesting to be able to be a part of something like that. I'm sure many would probably be interested in getting some type of leadership like that. But in the process of that, what are some of the trials and tribulations that you experienced through the development of yourself and the journey that you could kind of compare to what we're experiencing right now?
Well, if I go back to the start of my original business, and at that point in time, I was in an organization called C12 Group. That's the national organization I started with. It's a tremendous organization. But I started in January of 2009. And for those of us in Las Vegas will remember that was almost like the same crisis that we were going through then as we're going through right now, although a difference between a financial crisis and a pandemic type of crisis. But the key thing to remember is, first of all, crisis, they happen. And we don't try to avoid it, we try to go through it. And so the lessons that we learned by bringing our business owners together and supporting one another as we're trying to figure out what do we do now, what's next, that is tremendously valuable, because one of the challenges of a crisis is we get so much information, it's uncertain, it's unclear, and it's very hard to make wise decisions if you're just trying to do it by yourself.
Isn't that the truth? You got to protect yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, you've got to protect yourself and your mission and what you're doing and how you're doing it. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. What are some of the tactics that you're providing to the people that you are coaching right now?
Well, right now, the CadreLV groups, they're continuing. And the difference with what we're doing there is the last month and this month and maybe even next month, we're meeting remotely like you and I are doing right now via Zoom versus being in person. And and beyond that, on the John Maxwell side, and here's the thing, that just so I can separate the two, the CadreLV groups are for business owners of larger type companies, and that has a faith component to it, so it's only for a certain segment of the population, whereas the John Maxwell leadership materials for everybody. And so as a result of the pandemic, the national conference for John Maxwell was canceled in March. And he said, well, if we can't meet in Orlando, Florida, like we did before, we're going to do it virtually. And so he created a virtual meeting for about 3,000 people. And then as a result of that, they've created several mastermind groups that I've been able to just share with anybody that wants to sign up and go through it. And one of the groups is called Leading Through Crisis. So in other words, how do you lead? Because if this is your first crisis, it can be really overwhelming. And so coming together with other people that have experienced crisis before, that can be very powerful in helping you make wise decisions.
Oh my goodness, that's so true. So it sounds like it's just a mastermind, right? Of
Well, it is called a mastermind. Exactly.
Beautiful. That's fantastic. What are some of the success stories that you've heard about, or from people, salvaging themselves through the process of gaining leadership from you?
Well, with the pandemic, I probably don't have any success stories right yet because we're still right in the crux of it. But going through the previous crisis we went through, one of our business owners, their business took a huge downturn in 2009. And whenever you bring a group of people together, some businesses are going to be doing really well, some are going to be doing poorly, some are going to be in the middle somewhere. It's just a spread. And one of the businesses that was in deep trouble back in 2010 and so on and so forth, the other members of the group came around, daily encouragement, would go over to the office, would walk very closely with that individual, right, as they were coming through that process. Mm-hmm. Because when we're in crisis, we tend to want to draw back and hide and not do things like we did before. And now that very same business, which is not impacted as much in this crisis, is doing the very same for the other businesses that are struggling right now. So it's like you learned what we went through before, and now we can apply it to the people that we're in a relationship with now.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. It's powerful. It really is powerful to be able to implement and train from those who have experienced it. What are some of the things that you've seen that have been completely different in comparison to the previous crises you've seen? And what are some of the new strategies that you've kind of found that have been successful for people, even if it's not really showing a repercussion yet of what it's done, and whether it be positive or negative? What are some of the new ideas you've come up with that really have helped push through it, aside from a positive perspective?
Well, I think having a positive perspective is good. And John Maxwell says it's very easy to have a positive outlook, but it's hard to have hope about the future, because having a positive outlook is pretty passive. But having hope, it means that you are actually working towards a better future for what you see. And a couple of things that I see as different is in the crisis of 8, 9, and 10, that happened for a specific set of reasons. And even this one is a little bit different. And not everybody was impacted the same way in 8, 9, and 10. It depends on your personal situation. Mm-hmm. But now, with the way the governments took charge, if you will, and made a decision and then just said, you're out of business, basically, is what they said for a period of time. Mm-hmm. We had to react differently. I mean, we had no real chance to kind of figure out, okay, what do we do? Because it's one moment you're in business and the next moment you're shut down. And then the apparatus of the government trying to come in and do the right thing of helping people, it got overwhelmed. And so now we still have people that are in difficult situations. And so I think the learning from that for the businesses that are ongoing is to recognize that we will work through this, right? And so we have to look at what are the positive steps that we can take, not get distracted by all the different kinds of news things that are coming in. It's like, okay, let's come together, let's make wise decisions, and let's move forward with a purpose, always putting our people first.
Right.
And if we can do that, then I think we will end up in the best possible position in the days and weeks to come.
Oh my goodness, isn't that the truth? Coming from contribution, right? Right? It's
Right?
such a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing. And I thank you for doing that right now, because I know that that's exactly what you're doing. So,
Well, if you're kind of still under lockdown, if you can reach out to folks and they can connect. And matter of fact, I have another one of those mastermind groups starting after you and I are finished here at 3 o'clock today, just for anybody that wants to be, a part and kind of pull wisdom together, because we meet all kinds of people online. And so why not come around and do it with a good purpose?
oh goodness, that's beautiful too. It's true. How does someone become a part of finding out more about your team, the John Maxwell team, and being a part of those future masterminds that are, even the one that's coming today? How would somebody become a part?
Those are all posted online. If they Google my name, it's pretty easy. Ed Segalla, Segalla. I should come up on Facebook and LinkedIn and probably some other places as well. And all my contact information is there, and they'll be able to sign up for any one of the masterminds we do either today or later this week or anytime in the future. And those are usually organized through Eventbrite. So just sign up and put your name in and join in.
Awesome. Great. And I'll make sure to include all that information too for everybody, so that they can go ahead and quickly get a hold of it and be able to find out more about you and the coaching that you provide, and all the success stories that they could build for themselves by getting the guidance that they need from the people that know what to do. So thank
Great.
you so much for coming here to talk to me today, Ed. You're greatly appreciated. And I hope you enjoy your mastermind later on in the end of the day.
Thanks for the invite.
No problem. Thank you for coming on down. You have a good one. Okay. Stay safe now.
Take care.